talking to Major RRaymer and Mr. MServais, and the topic is the crisis at the Salvation Army. And of course, Major RRaymer, before we had our second commercial break, we promised that we would give you an opportunity to talk about some aspects of the Salvation Army. And we recognize that you're relatively new here, but we also know that, as you indicated earlier, that you've had many, many posts in the Salvation Army. What do you find that's somewhat different in your new assignments than, or might be comparable in your new assignments with what you've been accustomed to up until now?
Well, let me first say that it took me, I guess, maybe 2 full days. I mean, hitting it hard to go around and actually see what the Army is doing in the Nashville area, to meet the employees, to meet the volunteers, to actually see what's going on inside of each of the facilities. And I think the thing that sticks out in my mind the most was going into one of the two daycare programs that are housed at the Salvation Army, and having the 3-year-olds, and I mean, talk about being bombarded. I mean, every one of them wanted to get a hug, and that will always be a great memory for me. No matter how long I'm in Nashville, that's going to be at least in the top 10 to see the enthusiasm. And to me, I'm convinced that's really what we're all about, because that program alone gives the parents an opportunity to be able to become productive, active citizens in Nashville. As programs go, all that to say that in all the towns that I've been in, and I've been involved, at least indirectly, in large areas, being in Dallas and even in Baltimore, I can honestly say to you that this is probably one of the most comprehensive programs here in the southern part of the United States that the Salvation Army is involved in, because it literally has a program from the cradle to the grave for everybody and everybody in between. Some involvement with the Army, some type of program, some type of offering. And of course, all of that, at the crux of that, in the center of that, is our main thrust, as I've indicated before. We make no bones about the fact that who we stand for, and of course that's the Lord Jesus Christ. And in everything we do, He has the preeminence, and He is the one that is shown through all of that, even through the simplest cold cup of water. And so that's really our philosophy. That's really what we're about in meeting the needs. That cup of water takes all kinds of forms, as we've already indicated, just by what Mike said before the last break. And we're very proud of that, and we are very comfortable in that area. It does make it difficult, though, as part of this, the title of the show today, In Crisis, when we have to worry about where the next dollar is going to come from to keep that kind of a program operating, which is needed, desperately needed in the Nashville area.
You think, Mr. Survey, I think that he's indicated, and I think that that was essentially what was indicated when I read that there is a tremendous cutback. You're cutting back in etc. But now, is there anything that you can say to perhaps the Nashville community over the last 6 minutes that we have here that could perhaps make people much more aware of the needs that you have? Because it seems that you're doing tremendous work. You're touching many, many lives, but certainly you can't continue to do that.